There's other things out there. Everybody floats their own boat. This is what I use. This is how I like to do all my racks. Every single one of my racks has a Helix on it. An individual Helix. I don't have a Helix running any doubles or anything like that. There's my CB70 rack. Oh look, Pet Project 08. But there's my CB70 rack, and that's set at 96. And that's the big adults. Now the ARS cages I've got set at 94. I guess that's showing up. Now this is an ARS rack. And the reason being is because the ARS rack has a more solid top. Much less ventilation, bigger heat panels. So these, aside from all the holes in the front, the back is pretty solid as you further back as you go. Where this, basically it's see-through. So I heat these more so that the heat stays in there longer. Now what I do on the tops of these Freedom Breeder racks, as you can see, this is plastic. This is clear plastic. There's some rust stains. Alright, I'm getting ready to lose my grip. But that is a piece of clear plastic, and what it is it's covering up my very top level so that no big drafts get down inside. And all that plastic is one of the panels that goes into a drop ceiling, a 2x4 drop ceiling or a 2x3, whatever. It's those clear plastic light diffusers that go into a drop ceiling wherever you're going to have a light. And they work great. They're like $2 or $3. I just grab them and sit them right on the top of the rack. So my top levels of my Freedom Breeders get one of them. And let's see if we can get to my bottom level. There's one. And here's what it looks like. There's my bottom level. Here's the plastic. And what I do is I just slide it right on in to the back. So it leaves the front open and the back's closed. The only bad thing about this that I've noticed is for some reason Freedom Breeder racks tend to get a little bit of rust with that setting on them. So you want to be careful. I guess the plastic sitting on the powder coating or something, I don't know. I'm not no metal guy. But it builds up a little condensation and you can get some rust. So every once in a while you might have to let them air out. But let's take a look at some more probe placement while we're walking around and burning up batteries. This is the back of an ARS rack. And you can see the helixes, all my helixes are plugged into the ceiling. That's where the helixes are. I got all my outlets right in the ceiling. That way they're out of the way and I can have islands of racks. I like to be able to walk behind my racks, and I like to have aisleways. Anyway, here's the back of an ARS rack, and there's the back of a Freedom Breeder rack. And this is that cord that come off the back of the Helix. This cord right here is the one that the Helix tells what to do. Here's my plug strip cord right here, the black, and there's the plug strip. You can see all the heat panels are plugged into it. And here's my heat tape right here, and there's my probe right on top. Now this is an ARS heat panel. You'll notice it's a much wider panel. It's still got 3H tape in it, but it's more metal. Just radiates more. I guess that depends on what part of the country you're from on how that sounds. But you can see how solid the back of an ARS cage is. You know, that's solid. A few air holes. And here's a Freedom Breeder. So, it's all what you like. I like them both. You just got to know how to tweak them. Let me show what this looks like underneath. You can see that this is Velcroed. Man, that's Velcroed on there good too. But I'm lifting up a heat panel right now. I'm gonna try. There we go. There's the bottom of the heat panel. And you can see that's all insulated. That's that rolled insulation, silver both sides. The heat tape, the 3-inch heat tape is sandwiched in between the top here, the steel. It's glued or silicone. It's sprayed glued to the what is that? Oh, contact cement to the bottom of the metal, and then this insulation goes over it. And it's a really good idea that ARS has. There's the Velcro. That Velcro's down. Let's put it back down. But what that insulation does is it keeps the heat from dissipating all over the place. It drives the heat up into the box. Where before, everybody just run their heat tape into the metal heat panels, and you know, hopefully, I mean, of course the tops did get hot, and where the snake was resting was definitely warm, but heat was getting all over the place. And since then, I've taken all of my Freedom Breeders, every single rack that I got, and I've insulated them as well. You can see that insulation, and it's really, really helped. My electric bill is going from like $1,400 a month to $1,500. Oh boy. Now it does. I don't know how much it actually helps on your electric bill, but I think it's better on the Helix. I think it's just better on all the components. It's better on the snakes, but it's got to be helping with the electric. I wouldn't know. I mean, once you get past $1,400 a month and electric, you're pretty much, who cares? So I think I got that all covered. Probe placement. You can see that I have all the outlets in the ceilings for my islands. There's a good view of it right here. You can see all the outlets shooting up to the ceiling. I think that's got us covered. Holy mackerel, I'm looking at the time, 26 minutes and 42 seconds. What in the mercy? Just take one more shot. This is the back of the medium. So anyway, I think I got it all covered. Most of it anyway. Real simple way to set up your rack. The main thing is, don't be afraid to tweak it. You know, before you put your snakes in it, tweak it. Set your Helix at 100 and see what the heck happens. I mean, you know you're going to at least set it at 90. You know, but in a perfect world, I don't think 90 is going to work. The less substrate, meaning paper, is probably the less. And that's what I use. You know, there's the side of a box right there with the white news unprinted paper. The less substrate, the lighter you can get away with setting your Helix, meaning the less temperature your Helix needs to put out, because it's not having to go through all those barriers to get to the belly of the snake. So, you know, my heat's coming out on a metal panel, going through the box, going through the paper, and it's right on the snakes. And that's just the way I like to do things. And my snakes literally go under the paper and get right on the panel. I mean, my snakes bake themselves, and I love that. I love picking them up and they're toasty. But some people use cypress mulch, other fibrous beddings, you know, sandy chips, aspen, blah, blah, blah. And those people, you know, you got to have, that heat has more time. It's got to get through something thicker. You know, it's got to get through an inch or an inch and a half or 2 inches of substrate. And it's going to take a longer time to get there. And it's going to lose heat as it comes through. I mean, it takes time to go through all that and radiate up into the belly of the snake. So that's where you got to tweak it. And you know, if you're going to use substrate, then you're going to definitely want to check the box with substrate in it. Whatever substrate you decide you're going to use, that's how you're going to check it. Check it the same way the box would be with the snake in it. Mine happens to be paper. If you're going with aspen or sandy chips or cypress mulch or whatever, you know, fill it up just like you would, do it normally, and check it that way. Because, you know, your snake isn't always going to burrow down into that stuff to get warm. The snake's a lot of times just going to sit on top of that fibrous bedding. So that's how you tweak it. And it's fun to tweak stuff. You know, when I first got my Freedom Breeder racks, I had the terrible sheds, and the snakes were grinding their faces off, you know, because that expanded metal is pretty, you know, pretty rough. It's rough on me, it's rough on anybody, on your knuckles. But once I tweaked it, and a lot of it was the position of the heat panels, a lot of it was just the whole temperature overall. You know, once I got all that worked out, I don't have a problem. And, you know, we've got, you can see, we got a lot of snakes. And, I mean, out of 1,000 snakes, if I had to guess, we might have 3 or 4 bad sheds a week, if that. You know, and that's just something that wasn't wet enough when it was in shed. So, I'm going to come up on a full 30 minutes here. And that's good. That means I'll be able to break it in half and show this in 2 clips. So, anyway, folks, I don't think I forgot too much. Hopefully the audio is working good. And that's how you work a rack and a Helix. And this is the snake probe bit rack bit, whatever you want to call it.